Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parirajakacharya Astottara Sata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Premsiko Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai, Jamuna Devi, Ganga Devi Ki Jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi Hari. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 75, Duryodhana Humiliated, Text 32. Yasmim Narendra Ditijendra Surendra Lakshmir. Yasmins Narendra Ditijendra Surendra Lakshmir. Nana Vibhanti Kila Vishvasrijopaklipta. Nana Vibhanti Kila Vishvasrijopaklipta. Tabhi patindru pataraja suto pataste. Tabhi patindru pataraja suto pataste. Yasyam vishakta hridaya kururad atapyad. Yasyam vishakta hridaya kururad atapyad. Yasmims Narendra Ditijendra Surendra Lakshmir. Mims Narendra Ditijendra Surendra Lakshmir. Nana Vibhanti Kila Vishvasrijopaklipta. Tabhi patim drupata raja suto pataste. Yasyam vishakta hridaya kururada tapyat. Devotees. Yasmims Narendra Ditijendra Surendra Lakshmir. Na Vibhanti Kila Vishvasrijopaklipta. Tabi Patendru Pataraja Suto Pataste. Yasyam Vishakta Hridaya Kururada Tapyat. Yasmims Narendra Ditijendra Surendra Lakshmir. Nana Vibhanti Kila Vishvasrijopaklipta. Tabhi Patindru Pataraja Suto Pataste. Yasyam Vishakta Hridaya Kururada Tapyat. Yasmims Narendra Ditijendra Surendra Lakshmir. Nana Vibhanti Kila Vishvasrijopaklipta. Tabi Patindrupataraja Sutopatashte. Yasyam Vishakta Reda Kururada Tapyat. Yasmims Narendra Ditijendra Surendra Lakshmir. Nana Vipanti Kila Vishvasrijopaklipta. Tabi Patindru Pataraja Sutopatashte. Yasyam Vishakta Hridaya Kururada Tapyat. Yasmin, in which palace? Nara Indra, of the kings among men. Ditija Indra, of the kings of the demons. Sura Indra, and of the kings of the demigods. Lakshmihi, the opulences. Nana, variegated. Vibhanti, were manifest. Kila, indeed. Vishvasrija, by the cosmic manufacturer Maya Danava. Upaklipta, provided. Tabi, with them. Patin, her husbands, the Pandavas. Drupadaraja, of King Drupada. Suta, the daughter Draupadi. Upatashte, served. Yasyam, to whom. Vishakta, attached. Hridaya, whose heart. Kururat, the Kuru prince Duryodhana. Atapyat, lamented. Translation. In that palace, all the collected opulences of the kings of men, demons, and gods were brilliantly manifest, having been brought there by the cosmic inventor Maya Danava. With those riches, Draupadi served her husbands, and Duryodhana, the prince of the Kurus, lamented because he was very much attracted to her. Please repeat. In that palace, all the collected opulences of the kings of men, demons, and gods were brilliantly manifest, having been brought there by the cosmic inventor Maya Danava. With those riches, Draupadi served her husbands, and Duryodhana, the prince of the Kurus, lamented because he was very much attracted to her. So I'm going to read through verse 35, but I'll just read the commentaries also of these verses. So this is after the Rajasurya sacrifice, and we're seeing how Duryodhana is reacting to all the opulence of King Yudhishthir. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, in the chambers were various types of treasures from the kings of humans, demons, and devas. It was built by Maya. Draupadi enjoyed those opulences with her husbands in that place. Overcome with envy by those opulences, Duryodhana's heart was pained. Jiva Goswami. The grandeur of the sacrifice has been described. Now the wealth of the palace is briefly described as the cause of Duryodhana's grief. In the palace, Yasmin, various types of wealth from kings and devatas shone brilliantly. Sma indicates certainly. This was because the palace was made by Vishwakarma, or because the hall was made by Maya. By the construction of the city, Draupadi served her husband Yudhishthir. Chichuka's version has Patin husbands. She was a daughter of King Drupada. This suggests her extraordinary beauty and qualities through her remarkable birth. His heart being filled with envy of that wealth, out of envy he thought of himself as the king of the Kurus, Kuru Rat. Text 33. I'll just read the English. Lord Madhupati's thousands of queens were also staying in the palace. Their feet moved slowly, weighed down by their hips, and the bells on their feet tinkled charmingly. Their waists were very slender. The kumkum from their breasts reddened their pearl necklaces, and their swaying earrings and flowing locks of hair enhanced the exquisite beauty of their faces. Purport by the followers of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada writes, after looking at such beauties in the palace of King Yudhishthir, Duryodhana became envious. He became especially envious and lustful upon seeing the beauty of Draupadi, because he had cherished a special attraction for her from the very beginning of her marriage with the Pandavas. In the marriage selection assembly of Draupadi, Duryodhana had also been present. With other princes, he had been very much captivated by the beauty of Draupadi, but he had failed to achieve her. And finally, text 34. Wait, let's just read the commentaries for this one. Text 33. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, that place was resplendent with thousands of Krishna's queens with beautiful faces, earrings, and locks of hair. And Jiva Goswami says, it is said, Reme Ramabhir Nijakama Sampruta. Although fully satisfied within himself, he enjoyed with his pleasing wives. As Krishna's Lakshmis, they played in that palace after the Rajasuya sacrifice. They were the wives of Krishna, Swayam Bhagavan, Madhupatehe. They were beautiful because of their jingling feet, which moved slowly because of the weight of their hips. Their faces were beautiful because of their moving earrings. One should understand that this description only indicates a portion of their beauty. And then finally, text 34 to 35. It so happened that Emperor Yudhishthir, the son of Dharma, was sitting just like Indra on a golden throne in the assembly hall, built by Maya Danava. Present with him were his attendants and family members, and also Lord Krishna, his special eye. Displaying the opulence of Brahma himself, King Yudhishthir was being praised by the court poets. Purport. Srila Sridhar Swami explains that Lord Krishna is described here as Yudhishthir's special eye, since he advised the king on what was beneficial and what was not. And the Sanskrit for Krishna's special eye is Krishne Napi Swachakshusha. Chakshusha is eyes, so his eyes were Krishna. Okay. And commentaries on these shlokas. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, he was surrounded by friends, attendants, and also Krishna, who acted as his eyes, Svachakshusha Krishnena, pointing out what was beneficial and not beneficial. Jiva Goswami. 6 verses describe what happened at that time. Yudhishthir was sitting in that hall made by Maya. This suggests its wondrous nature. This is described in Mahabharata, Sabha Parva. That hall had pillars of gold, 10,000 hands wide. Its exalted divine form shone like fire, like the sun and like the moon. 8,000 Rakshasa and Kinkaras, directed by Maya, protected and maintained the hall. Though Yudhishthir was the emperor Adhirat, he was not proud of his position because he was dedicated to Dharma, Dharma Sutaha. Krishna was like his eye, advising what was beneficial or harmful, swa-chakshusha. Or Krishna was the object of Yudhishthira's eyes. Or, just as one cannot enjoy such wealth without eyes, Yudhishthira could not enjoy his wealth without Krishna. What more can be said? He was like Indra and served by wealth equal to Brahma's. And Sanatana Goswami's is very similar, just the last part is a little different. Or Krishna was the object of Yudhishthira's eyes. Yudhishthira was always looking at Krishna, not fully satisfied. Thus being absorbed in Krishna, he did not see Duryodhana fall into the water. If he had seen him, he would have sent his brothers to bring him. He was like Indra and served by a wealth of kingdom, like Indra's. Or what to speak of being like Indra's rule, it was directly like Brahma's, Parameshtaya rule. Or, just as one cannot enjoy such wealth without eyes, Yudhishthira could not enjoy his wealth without Krishna. What more can be said? He was like Indra and served by wealth equal to Brahma's. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamshta Shri Rupam Sagarjatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Desha Tarine. Hare Krishna. I offer my obeisances to all the assembled devotees. So grateful to be here. Please give me your blessings that we can glorify Srimad Bhagavatam. So here we're seeing nice contrast between two different people viewing the same scenario. We have the scenario is after the Rajasuya sacrifice, Yudhishthira's his glory, his opulence. Wherever Krishna is there, all opulence and victory is there, as we know at the end of Bhagavad Gita. So here, Yudhishthira, because he's a pure devotee of Krishna, all opulence of Indra, of Brahma, is there with him. And it's described that Draupadi is serving her husbands, and Krishna is still there because Yudhishthira asked them to stay longer. So Krishna is there, and all his queens are there, and the description of their beauty, each one of them is Lakshmi Devi. So their beauty, they're just enhancing everything. So two different views of this is, a devotee's view would be, if a devotee was in that atmosphere, would be like, thank you, Krishna, that I can be here, seeing the opulence of your pure devotees, and so grateful that I can somehow be here and render some service. Now, Duryodhana, a devotee in that situation would be feeling so happy and so grateful. Duryodhana, on the other hand, is in the same situation, but he's burning, feeling so miserable. And Maharaj yesterday was talking about envy, how envy is such a subtle thing that's actually the thing that brought us to this material world. We turned away from Krishna. So Duryodhana is just burning in misery and burning in lamentation, looking at Draupadi and thinking, she should have been mine. Looking at the queens and thinking, like they should be mine. Looking at this opulence, thinking it should be mine. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how attachment and material desires bring misery, and how when one is focused on Krishna's pleasure, it brings full satisfaction and peace and joy. And I wanted to focus on Yudhishthir's, it's described in this last verse, his eye, it's such a beautiful statement. Krishne napi swachakshusha, that, let's see, Krishna, his special eye. Krishna was his special eye. So why was Yudhishthira able to be in that opulent situation, but he was also not bewildered or agitated by pride or like feeling intoxicated by all that pleasure? Like we see Hiranyakashipu, Ravana, when they had all that pleasure, they became almost, they couldn't think properly anymore. They became so bewildered by that opulence and pride. But here Yudhishthira is staying humble, he's staying equipoised, and it's because his eye is on Krishna. So I wanted to a little bit focus upon what does that mean to have our eye on Krishna. So as we know in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains how when there's material attachments, it brings misery. It's counterintuitive to us. We think that the more we get, the happier we'll be. But as we hear from the scriptures, and as we also have the experience, trying to enjoy doesn't really bring pleasure. In fact, it brings the opposite. Like when we try for something, when the senses are trying to get their sense object, we actually become more miserable, more attached, and the mind cannot be peaceful, because it's the nature of this world that it's a reflection, like Maharaj was explaining. It's just a reflection. It's not the real thing. It's like if you're hungry and you're eating a reflected apple, it doesn't satisfy us. So this world is not really the thing that will bring satisfaction for the soul. And the senses are such, Krishna describes in Bhagavad Gita, lust is such, it's like a fire. The more you try to satisfy it, it's adding fuel to the fire. It just becomes stronger. Or like Prabhupada would say, itch. You itch. It feels good for a little bit, then it increases, and then you have to itch more. So that's the nature of trying to satisfy our senses. And we may have experienced that, of trying to enjoy, and then after you're done, you want more. You want something else. You want more. You're not satisfied. The mind and the senses never can be satisfied by trying to contact them with the sense objects. So we hear of this in the Bhagavad Gita. And we also hear in Bhagavad Gita how a devotee does not take part in the sources of misery. Krishna says in 5th chapter, text 22, Yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkha yonaya evate adyantavanta kaunteya nate shuramate buddhaha. An intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery, which are due to contact with the material senses, O son of Kunti. Such pleasures have a beginning and an end, and the wise do not delight in them. And then the next shloka, Krishna says that before giving up this present body, if one is able to tolerate the urges of the material senses and check the force of desire and anger, he is well situated and is happy in this world. One whose happiness is within, who is active and rejoices within, and whose aim is inward, is actually the perfect mystic. He is liberated in the Supreme, and ultimately he attains the Supreme. And in the 3rd chapter, text 37, Krishna says, Kama esha krodha esha rajo guna samudbhava mahashano mahapapma vidyenam iha vairinam. The Supreme Personality of God has said, it is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion and later turns into wrath, and which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world. And we're going to see here how very soon this lust and envy that Duryodhana is harboring is going to turn into wrath, and he's going to become, it's so devouring that's going to actually cause a whole war to happen. So this is what happens. And Prabhupada, in the purport, Prabhupada says, when a living entity comes in contact with the material creation, his eternal love for Krishna is transformed into lust in association with the mode of passion. Or in other words, the sense of love of God becomes transformed into lust, as milk in contact with sour tamarind is transformed into yogurt. Then again, when lust is unsatisfied, it turns into wrath. Wrath is transformed into illusion, and illusion continues the material existence. Therefore, lust is the greatest enemy of the living entity, and it is lust only which induces the pure living entity to remain entangled in the material world. And then further on in the purport, Prabhupada says that the origin of lust is also Krishna, and we can transform the lust back into love of Krishna by desiring everything for Krishna's pleasure. Then lust and wrath can be spiritualized, Prabhupada is saying. So we hear these statements in in Bhagavad Gita, about how trying to satisfy our senses doesn't really make us happy. And then we may have also experience. And I was reading recently the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj, and it's very interesting. In one part of his prayers, he talks about his own experience. He says, people desire a lot of opulence in this world, but from my experience, I saw that my father, he was so powerful. He was so powerful that when he laughed and moved his eyebrows, the demigods would shake in fear. But even though my father was so powerful, he is now being vanquished by you in a moment. And then he continues by saying that, my Lord, from my experience concerning material opulence, concerning worldly opulence, mystic power, longevity, and other material pleasures enjoyed by all living entities, from Lord Brahma down to the ant, but as powerful time, you destroy them all. Therefore, because of my experience, I do not wish to possess them. My dear Lord, I request you to place me in touch with your pure devotee and let me serve him as a sincere servant. So that's Prahlad's wish. He says, I don't want all this opulence. I saw my father had it all, and it was just wiped out in one moment. What I want is service to your pure devotee. Just want to be with your pure devotees. And then he continues. In this material world, every living entity desires some future happiness, which is exactly like a mirage in a desert. Where is water in the desert? Or in other words, where is happiness in this material world? As for this body, what is its value? It is merely a source of various diseases. The so-called philosophers, scientists, and politicians know this very well, but nonetheless they aspire for temporary happiness. Happiness is very difficult to obtain, but because they are unable to control their senses, they run after the so-called happiness of the material world and never come to the right conclusion. So it's like running after a mirage. You keep running and running, hoping that. And that's the nature of the mind. And even in our state, our spiritual life, we may notice that the mind sometimes just gets unsatisfied and negative, or has some kind of attachment. And usually, if we notice that, we'll notice that we start to become unhappy and resentful, and usually that's because the mind, we're identifying with the mind's talking, and the mind has a nature to go that way. So it is important to pray to Krishna that we can separate ourselves from the mind's voice, that mind's voice is not me. Sometimes it will be negative, sometimes it will be attached, sometimes it will be like trying to get things that it can't get, and just, or obsessive about something. And just to notice it, put it at Krishna's lotus feet, and let go of that. That's not me, that's just the mind. And then Krishna's eye focus on Krishna, like Yudhishthir, his eye was focused on Krishna. And that focus on Krishna comes by reading every day or hearing every day, because that keeps our intelligence very strong. Otherwise, if the intelligence is not strong, it's like the driver of the chariot, whose the intelligence is like the driver, as is explained in the Bhagavad Gita, and the reins are like the mind. So the intelligence should be holding the reins of the horses. The horses are the senses who are pulling us in every direction. So if the intelligence is very strong, then we can control the mind and these horses. And how to keep the intelligence sharp is by every day hearing, and somehow coming in contact, at least for some time, with these Srila Prabhupada's books and Srila Prabhupada's words, Vani and hearing, because that keeps us aligned. It's so easy. At any point, we can get deviated. We should never think, I'm okay now. Because at any point, Maya can kind of push us and we can start to move away and we don't even notice it. We won't even notice that we're kind of slipping away. Other people may start to notice, but we will not notice it because of Maya's covering. So it's so important that we stay aligned by keeping in contact with the Shastras. So what does it mean to make Krishna my eyes? And the first point that is this. The eyes guide us. The eyes are what guide us. So if the Shastra will guide us, Krishna, through the words of a Shastra, will guide us what is right, what is wrong, so that we will make the right decisions. Another way that I was thinking about the eyes is eyes can focus on something. I can look at that guitar and my eyes can focus on it. You know, it can zoom in on that. So in the same way, let me focus my goal on Krishna's pleasure instead of thinking too much about what other people want or what my mind wants and all that. Keep my focus on Krishna, just like the eyes can focus. And again, that focus comes also from constantly hearing and being in association with the devotees. And another thing that was mentioned in the commentaries of the Acharyas is the eyes are part of us. They accompany us wherever we go. So Yudhishthir, just like the eyes are with us all the time, Krishna's with us all the time. And Yudhishthir couldn't enjoy the opulence without Krishna. So in the same way, whatever situation we are in, to feel Krishna's with me in that situation, whether it's a good, pleasant situation or unpleasant situation, the real enjoyment or the real satisfaction of bliss is feeling Krishna's there with me. Just like eyes are always there with me, Krishna's there always with me. And that way, in any situation, even hard situations, dark situations, we'll feel peaceful because we know Krishna's there with me. It's very comforting. And then the fourth thing I was thinking is how eyes hold images. Like, have you ever had that experience where you're looking at something for some time and you're just like gazing at it and then you close your eyes and you can kind of see the image of that thing? It kind of like imprinted in the back of your eye, kind of like that. So I was thinking how a devotee, because they're so focused on Krishna, they're so absorbed from hearing about Krishna that wherever they go, they will be able to have that image of Krishna or have that, the image of Krishna in their heart, the eye of their hearts. And that comes also from hearing about Krishna, reading about Krishna, looking at the form of Krishna. Actually, it's so important that every day we have darshan of Shri Shri Radha Golokananda, because that also imprints the image of the beautiful form of the Lord in our hearts. And in this way, the absorption will come. So those are four things. The eyes guide us, so Shastras guide us. Eyes focus our goal on Krishna. Eyes accompany us, always feel Krishna accompanying us. And eyes hold images, so hold the image of Krishna in our hearts. All these things will keep us focused and be able to be satisfied in any situation. So here we have Duryodhana, who's completely unsatisfied, and Yudhishthir, who's completely satisfied. And Yudhishthir, the same Yudhishthir, when he was in the forest, he didn't have a palace, he didn't have all the opulence. He was living in a forest. In the 13th year, he was incognito. He was also satisfied. He wasn't miserable at that time either, because he had that Krishna's eye. He had that his eyes were on Krishna always. So he was also satisfied, even in that situation. I was also thinking about Sudama Brahmana. Sudama, when he was a friend of Krishna from the Gurukul days, but later he was seemingly poverty-stricken. And the acharyas asked the question, why was Sudama so poverty-stricken? And the answer is that there's two types of devotees. One according to the acharyas. One type of devotee is averse to material opulence. And another kind of devotee is, okay, whether it's there or not, I will serve Krishna. So examples of devotees who are adverse to material opulence were like Jad Bharat. He was adverse to it, so Krishna didn't give it to him. Or like Sudama, he didn't want it, so Krishna didn't give it to him. But then there's devotees who are okay with it either way, like Ambarish Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, when they were kings, opulent. It came to them, they used it in Krishna's service, it didn't distract them. So there's two types of devotees. Sudama was a type that he didn't want it. He just wanted to be have that kind of simple life. So Krishna didn't force it upon him. But later his wife said, please go beg Krishna because he's your friend and you should ask him for help. So Sudama didn't want to ask Krishna, but he thought, this is a nice opportunity. I get to see Krishna. That's a good excuse. I get to see my friend Krishna. So he went to Dwarka, and Krishna, of course, we know the beautiful exchange. Krishna had him sit on his bed. He worshipped him, washed his lotus feet. Then he gave him, so much love, and they talked about their childhood days. And then when Sudama, and he took that offering that Sudama gave, that broken chipped rice, and he was so satisfied with the love of his devotee. Sudama was walking back in the same poverty condition, same torn clothes, and in his heart he was thinking, Krishna's so kind. I got an opportunity to see him. Doesn't matter if I didn't get anything from him. This is the perfection, just having been with Krishna. And he was just remembering all the beautiful exchanges with Krishna. And this is the mood of the devotee. They don't want anything from Krishna. They just want to serve Krishna. They just want to have that exchange with Krishna and his devotees. So when he walked back and he saw the palace, he was so bewildered. He saw his wife coming out dressed like the goddess of fortune. And he realized Krishna has given all this to me because I have just given him a little bit of broken chipped rice. He's so kind. Krishna is so merciful. Did he become bewildered by the opulence? No. In fact, it's described that he walked into that palace and the shloka says, okay, sorry, trying to find it. Thus firmly fixing his determination by means of spiritual intelligence, Sudama remained absolutely devoted to Lord Krishna, the shelter of all living beings. Free from avarice, he enjoyed, together with his wife, the sense pleasures that had been bestowed upon him, always with the idea of eventually renouncing all the sense gratification. So he lived the life of opulence. It's not like he just slept on the floor. He slept on the bed. He went through the life of the opulence. He accepted it as Krishna had given it to him, but he never lost his eye on Krishna. So he didn't get bewildered by it. He kept his focus on Krishna. And he always had the mind of eventually renouncing all the sense gratification also. So in this way, we can see how a devotee is fully peaceful in any situation. And a non-devotee, or like an envious person like Duryodhana, he is miserable in any situation. Even surrounded by all this beauty, he was miserable. And a devotee is happy wherever there's Krishna because his eye is focused on Krishna. So those are a few thoughts that I had. Would anyone like to add or ask anything on these points about keeping our vision, our eye on Krishna always? Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Satisfied. Yes. So it's not uncommon to see someone who's just always unhappy no matter what he has, right? Yeah, it's a matter of attitude. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Have an attitude of gratitude. Whatever Krishna gives me, that's perfect. That's good. Yeah, thank you so much. That's perfect for me in this situation. Whatever I have right now is exactly what I need to progress in my spiritual life. So accepting it very, very gratefully and trying to serve Krishna in any situation. Yeah. Yeah.
And after a couple of years, it'll be like pages on pages of things I once did.
Be aware of the necessity of gratitude. Yes, every day practicing. One thing, two things that I was grateful for today. Yeah. Yeah. I was also thinking about Ravana, how Ravana saw Sita Devi and he thought, for my enjoyment. So Duryodhana is seeing Draupadi, seeing all this opulence. Oh, it's for me. But a devotee doesn't see things as for me. He sees everything to be used for Krishna. So so he's satisfied. He's happy being a servant of Krishna. He doesn't want things for his own pleasure, which brings misery. So, yeah. Mm. Yeah. Yes. Yes. That's a good point. Yes, devotees are like children, because they're completely dependent on Krishna. They don't need to take that burden. Actually, we don't have to take the burden. We can leave that to Krishna. That's actually Krishna's job, is to control everything. We don't have to control. We can just be happy to be a little servant of Krishna. That's so freeing, right? To have that mood. Yeah. Yeah. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Bharavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandar Bhagom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobha Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Pasyan Dipan Kayanti Chiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham
Pulakashari Goranga bolite habe Pulakashari Hari Hari bolite nayane babeni Hari Hari bolite na